Hi, Paul here. This is episode 5, Overcoming Objections Without Pressure. By now, you've been watching this series in order. Something should already feel different. You'll be attracting better leads, you'll be uncovering stronger whys, and you'll be recognizing the reasons people don't buy or hesitate. And in episode 4, you learned how to prevent most objections before they arise. But let's be realistic. Even when you do everything right your end, objections do still come up. And episode 5 is about what to do when they do. Because the biggest mistake people make with objections is seeing them as resistance. And they're not. An objection is simply a signal that the homeowner needs more clarity before they feel safe to move forward with you. And that's it. And when you understand that, objections stop feeling confrontational and start feeling conversational. Most salespeople hear an objection and immediately go into defense mode. They usually justify, they explain, they overtalk, they discount, and they start to push. And all of that creates one thing: pressure. Pressure makes your prospect retreat. Professional closers do exactly the opposite. They slow things down. They don't jump in to fix it immediately. They don't contradict the homeowner. And above all, they don't argue. They acknowledge and then they explore, because you can't overcome an objection you haven't properly understood. And this is where tone matters more than words. If your energy says, "Here comes the hard part," the homeowner can feel it. If your energy says, "That's a fair question," the homeowner relaxes. And that relaxation is what allows clarity to form in your prospect's mind. Most objections sound like this: "Hey Paul, it's more than we expected. We need to think about it. We want to look at a few other options. We need to speak to our partner. It's just not the right time for us to make a decision." But underneath those words is usually one of the 5 reasons we uncovered in episode 3. So, going back, that's no money, no need, no desire, no trust, and no hurry. Your job is not to respond to the words. Your job is to understand the reason. So instead of replying with answers, you reply with curiosity. You acknowledge that they've said and gently explore what's going on behind what they said. Not in an interrogating way, not in a pushy way, just guiding. For example, when someone says, "It's more than we expected," the worst thing you can do is immediately defend the price. Instead, you acknowledge it. That makes total sense. And then you explore, can I just ask what you were expecting roughly? Or is it the overall figure, or is it something in particular that's surprising to you? Those questions don't pressure, they create clarity in your prospect's mind. And clarity dissolves resistance. When someone says, "We need time to think about it," that doesn't mean they're not interested. It simply means that something is still missing or something's unresolved. So instead of filling the silence you slow things down. I completely understand. Can I ask what's the main thing you want to think through? That one question often reveals the real obstacle immediately. And when someone says, we want to look at a few other quotes, that's usually about trust or value. They're not comparing numbers, they're comparing confidence. So instead of competing, you re-anchor the conversation. That makes sense. Most people want to feel comfortable before deciding, before making their buying decision. What's most important to you when you're comparing your options? Again, that doesn't apply any pressure at all. It just adds clarity to the conversation. And here's the important part. You don't rush to close immediately after an objection. You don't treat it like it's something that you need to get past. You treat it like a doorway to continue the conversation, because once the objection's understood, the conversation often becomes easier than it was before. The homeowner needs to feel heard. They need to be respected, and above all, they need to feel safe in making their decision. And safe people decide. This is why confidence matters so much in your objection handling. Not loud confidence, not forced confidence, calm, quiet confidence. The kind that says, there's no rush. We'll only move forward when it feels safe and right for you. And ironically, that's what makes people want to move forward. Objections aren't rejection. They're requests for reassurance. When you truly believe that your entire approach changes, you stop trying to win the conversation. You start guiding it gently. And that's when objections stop feeling like roadblocks and start feeling like stepping stones. Now, here's something important. You don't need to overcome every objection. Sometimes the objection is valid, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes there really is no money. Sometimes there really is no urgency, and that's okay. A professional knows when to lean in and when to let go, because confidence isn't about closing everyone. It's about closing the right prospect at the right time, which brings us naturally to what comes next. Once objections are handled calmly, once clarity is restored, once the homeowner feels safe and assured, there's only one thing left to do, and that's close the deal. And in episode 6, we're going to talk about how to close the deal with total confidence, without pressure, without awkwardness, and without feeling like you're asking for the sale. Because when everything before it has been done properly, closing feels like the most natural part of the conversation. So join me in episode 6, where we'll discover how to close with confidence.